everyone, this is Charles Ethan Weineck here, and today I am here to present my presentation of compare and contrast for this week's assignment. But before that, I hope you all had a great Halloween, as I had. It was a blast, and I hope you had a great weekend, you guys as well. Without further ado, let's start. So for this week's example, I did Snow White as for the first one, and decided to choose Fantasia. Both are copyrighted and owned by Disney, but I will not be using any videos as copyright system for YouTube is very tedious with that and don't want to risk it, but I did do some great sources I will show at the links to at the end of the video. Now, intro. The golden age of animation definitely would not have ever been what it is today if not for Walt Disney and his legendary brand. Disney took most of the risks out of all animators and companies to fully explore and succeed in understanding how moving art could create stories for the audience to enjoy. Many examples could have been chosen, but the choice of comparing and contrasting Snow White and Fantasia were the best of how their growth, impact, and legacy brought animation legends to that most are seen. I added bios for both so that I wanted to quickly explore. In story is basically foretold in the same fairy tale from the Brother Games, which was about Snow White basically trying to survive the queen in order to become the fairest of all. She meets the Dwarfs, which later on she gets poisoned by the queen and ends up happily ever after that. Like I said, there was a lot of risks into this project, and thankfully they became a success. Fantasia is a little bit different because of how it is like different stories based on classic musicals all combined into one. So it lacked its storytelling. Didn't have a true story to it, but it was still unique and truly brought most iconic moments in the Disney vault to date. And as you can see here, it goes behind the history of during the production of the film and its result. Now let's get on the main thing, compare. When you compare both of these spot on, both of these were indeed considered musicals of how singing and had music in any style to it. Both are considered classic animation films to date, and both have used the style animation technique of hand-drawn, where everything was made from paper, from scratch, from hand. And the films did use technicolors, or colors created instead of black and white. Both used vocal performances or voice acting, and has used many tools in writing techniques such as rotoscoping. And that's about it for compare. Now contrast. There's pros and cons to both. I added both. For Snow White, there was had the most pros. Had a better storytelling and characters to date. Was overall a box office hit. Changed animation as a whole. Was indeed Disney's most riskiest project, as again it was its very first film. First to ever use Technicolor and animation that truly changed it, and was heavily well received from everyone. The only con that I found that the character movement features were not so great, and we'll explore it on later on. And that's where Fantasia comes in. A lot of more cons than pros, but due to being a failure at the box office, poor pacing issues, everyone is, despite it being acclaimed, it was mixed on overall film and truly lacked a narrative story and world building. But there was a lot of pros to it as well. More important pros. More musical scenes that were heavily better detailed in animation, including movement. Blended live action moments to it. More classical music. And had most of the most memorable scenes in animation itself, such as Mickey Mouse with the magic hat, or the demon monster that I cannot remember pronounced correctly, in the mountain, and was truly a novelty at the time by using visual music to tell its animation. And the final point of overall on this is that no matter the better movie, Disney was the one that truly brought gold to animation during that age, because I've always taken the risk just to simply foretell his story, and I want to end it with this quote. I only hope that we never lose sight of one thing. It was all started by a mouse. Walt Disney. And that truly does stand point to this day in the golden age of animation. And besides that, that ends my presentation. Little over 5 minutes, but I hope you enjoy. Thank you for watching, and here are the sources that I use. I'll put them in the link as well, and I hope to see you next time. Stay awesome.